What's up? I'm Lex. Welcome to Feedback Chats. Today we have the legendary Buddy Harlow.
Legendary in Harrisonburg, baby.
Hey there,
Shout
sir,
out.
man.
I saved a girl from choking at Benny's Pizza one time.
Hell yeah.
So
That's awesome. Today we're going to talk about Well, first of all, let's talk about Buddy. Buddy is an engineer. He is the guitarist and writer and engineer for the band Tan and Handsome. Their shit rips, so go check it out. It's amazing. But Buddy works a lot in like heavier music in general, but he's a crazy audio engineer. He makes stuff sound amazing. And most of the time you're recording it in basements and shit, right? That's the main goal.
it's like basements and like kind of anything that the budget will allow.
Yep.
I
Making it
don't.
happen.
Yeah, I don't really want to like let anyone's budget like get in the way of making something cool.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome.
a lot of times it's like two Focusrites stacked on top of each other, out of the rack, just fucking sliding around.
Yeah,
And,
well, dude, let's jump into it. I think it's great. Let's talk about this setup. So Buddy is like not known for because you've worked in studios and done stuff like that, but if you are like a band that's just like, I got to get this done, I really want to do it well and make it sound amazing, like Buddy has shown up with his whole studio in a rack basically and kind of records at the house whatever you need and makes it sound amazing. Like honestly getting better drum sounds in somebody's basement than like most professional studios are. So it's a really cool thing. And let's talk about it a little bit, man. What's the rig? What are you rolling with?
so the rig is the PreSonus Quantum like HD2 because it's got two ADAT ports. Honestly, that's really the main reason. Um, and then I have like an old Motu like 8-channel like preamp that my buddy Dave gave me, and he said he would give it to me for a cup of coffee. Shout out Dave. And then the other 8 channels is that Behringer like ADAT pre because
Dude,
it's like
I
200
got one of
bucks.
those too.
It's
They're
like
great.
200 bucks, and it's like
Gets
by
the
the
job
time by
done.
the time I'm getting to like channels 9 through 16, I'm not really that picky on like what.
Nobody's worried about the preamp at that point.
Yeah. And I mean like it's not like the Motu sounds great either. It's literally just like get it into the computer and then cook it there.
Well, it's clean. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
at least
yeah.
clean. Even if it's sterile, like that's cool.
Yeah,
That's what you're
that's
trying to get is just like good sources so that you can just like roll without dirtying it up too much. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
for sure.
That's awesome. So I don't do a ton of like full band mixing. I do it sometimes, but not all the time. But that's like your bread and butter. That's where you're doing most of your stuff. So let's talk about like plugins. Like if we're talking about, let's start with drums. What are some things like you can't live without?
Can't live without on drums. Fab Filter Pro Q3.
Get You Fab Filter
Yeah.
Pro Q. I think they're on 4 now,
Yeah.
but it's insane,
Yeah,
right?
honestly, like, I mean, I'd upgrade to 4, it's just I haven't thought about it that
Yep,
much.
same.
Just like a great surgical EQ, good for the broadband stuff. There's also like a lot of other weird things that you can do where you can do like a dynamic EQ and like set your threshold manually. Even
That's
like
how I use it
there,
every day,
yeah,
like for
there's
dynamic EQ. Yeah.
yeah, there's so much stuff in there where like you like I feel like I'm constantly finding like new features and stuff. Like the EQ match stuff is really good if you are trying to get close to a reference, but you're trying to see like where you're off. So like you feed the EQ match in there and you're like, oh well, they've got like a shit ton more low mids and I do not. So like then you go back and rework that stuff. I wouldn't, push it as far as put like 36 points on the graph to match the EQ because it sounds weird. But I don't know. A lot of those features are like super cool and like help you out a bunch. Past that, like Slate VMR, like being able to have like a Neve and like SSL style like EQ like butted up against like 1176 or
Like the classics.
yeah,
You
or
know what
like
I
a
mean?
distressor and stuff. I was talking to my buddy Dave about this recently, but mainly it's like a lot of those like API and like Neve EQs, like they have those like notched areas where like stuff sounds good. And like since so many records like of years past were like made with those like EQs,
Mhm.
you don't really have to think that much about like, oh, like I'm gonna go fish around in here. It's like 3.2 sounds awesome if you boost it on like a snare or a tom. Um, like your high end, like your 8K shelf, like on a SSL style EQ sounds good when you crank it. So like those things are kind of like preset in a way where records have already been made that way. So it's like easier to just kind of get that stuff dialed in and then handle the more surgical stuff with Fab Filter. And then yeah, for like gating and stuff, honestly still Slate VMR. Like they've got a great drum gate and they've
Oh,
got
nice.
like side chains on there
Dude, sweet.
that you can like set to key off of like like you can set like high pass and low pass filters. So like you can set a low pass filter for your kick. That way it's only hitting when the kick transient is the most present thing, and you can get like your snare and shit out of there. If you want to be like more selective about it, you can set up like key spikes and like, do
You're
off
really
that.
getting nitty-gritty
Yeah,
with
that
it.
that's
Yeah,
like what I
that's smart.
typically do just to make sure it's like as consistent as possible. But some people don't want to do that because it takes a bunch of time and it's annoying.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Tell us about the setup at home. You're mixing this stuff in the office, right? I mean, like,
yeah.
so like, what are we rocking with?
What are we rocking?
First of all, computer. I know you have a studio, right?
Yeah, I got a
Mac
Mac
Studio.
Studio.
Those things are fire.
Yeah, Mac Studio.
Great computer. Go for it.
Yeah, honestly, even like the Mac Mini M4s now, like
Yeah.
they are
Yeah.
very solid, and very portable. That was the main thing. Is like the reason I wanted to get the. I was gonna steer away from the studio because I was using a laptop to go do like mobile stuff, but I don't know, just like I just have to pack an extra like monitor now. I know that I have the horsepower to like handle
Yeah, that's
anything.
that's what I'm saying. Like at the end of the day, like you can handle everything you need
Also,
with
like
that. Like,
so much of this is like getting artists like comfortable with like how something like sounds. So being able to put on like a couple instances of like Slate VMR and get stuff kind of in the
quick.
ballpark.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
of
do
like
the
what.
same thing for playback.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I'll throw a little compressor chain, maybe an EQ on, just so it's like this is what it can start to sound like. I think
yeah,
people are a lot of the times I find that like vocalists especially will be like, I don't know, I just feel like I'm not like sending it. You know what I mean? And I'm
yeah,
like, okay, let me help out a little bit, and then
yeah,
they'll be like, oh, this sounds great. Like this is a keeper take,
yeah.
just with like a little bit of
Well,
something.
yeah, it's because most of the time they're like absolutely destroying a compressor like
Yeah,
in the mix phase. Like that's why like none of this stuff like sounds good raw. I think that was the thing I learned when I was like
dude.
younger,
So my
buying your first interface, like
let's
hooking up
talk
all these
about this.
mics, and then like being like, oh my god, drums sound like shit.
Dude, they sound bad. Like we recorded some drums today in the living room and like we were both like, holy crap, these are sick. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And that never happens. Like
yeah.
when you're setting up drums to record at home, like half the time you play back and you're just like, oh, we're fucked.
It sounds
Like,
dusty.
yeah, there's no way that we can make this sound good. But like then you can if you like mix correctly and
Yeah.
like your stuff's in phase.
Dude,
And,
I
you know what
remember
I mean?
when I was a kid, my friend, he wanted to record really bad, and like we were in a band together, and he bought an Allen and Heath like 32 channel mixing board,
Yeah,
and he's like,
baby.
dude, we got 32 channels, like it's great.
Yeah, but it
But
was only
it's two channels
yeah,
going
it was
into
stereo.
this.
Oh
Yeah.
man, that
So
sucks.
everything we had to do was like on the board, and that was
Yeah.
just like, all right, this sounds bad.
Yeah, you're like, "This is bad." It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, because you're working with a little soundboard,
Yeah,
you know
but
what
then like I got like a Focusrite Sapphire Pro 40, got everything
I
hooked
mean?
up, and was like, this is gonna sound better. And we had those like CAD mics, and my buddy, like I
Yep.
don't think he's like that good at like tuning drums. Hook it all up, and we're like,
This
bad.
sucks, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, like, and it's just like part of the process too. Like, a lot of people don't realize how much you can do in the mix,
yeah,
but also obviously, okay, let's talk about this. It's important to get as good of sounds as you can get.
yeah.
Like, that is important. Like, we're
Nah,
talking like it's not, but it is important.
don't listen to him. Just get the bad shit.
But also, you can fix pretty much a lot of stuff. Now, when it comes to your mix engineer, like you might be stuck in two different places where you've probably done this too. You're saving shit or you're making it amazing. Like
Yeah,
if you start really, really rough, then you can save it and make it sound like pretty good for what it was. But
yeah.
if you start really good, you can like make it amazing.
There's a window of like refinement, and
Yeah,
like
for sure.
if it's bad, if you think of like 30% better than bad, if
That's
it's at
yeah.
if it's at 40%, like you're in a passing grade here.
Yeah.
Like you're up to
You can
70
make it
if you
you
do
can
it.
make it happen. Like
If you're starting on like a 30, and like I'm pretty harsh. I would say like 30 is like just like sloppy takes and stuff like that, bad edits.
well, like great takes
Yeah.
different than like sound too. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
yeah,
you
for
could have
sure.
like a shitty sounding guitar tone, but
Yeah.
the take could be fire and you might be able to save it a little bit in post. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
for
But
sure.
it's a dangerous balance that we walk on because we want people to get good stuff, like that's important, but also like get it done. A
Yeah.
lot of people don't do it because they're just like, well, it sounds bad. It's like, well, yeah,
Yeah,
no
I mean,
shit. Like,
there's like analysis paralysis with all this stuff,
mhm.
and it's like until you put pen to paper, you can't really like look back at it and like calibrate and go like, all right, could have done this better. And I mean, like I know people who have like re-recorded themselves like multiple times. There's been like professional artists and
Yeah.
stuff who have like done full albums, and been like, this isn't the way I want it to sound. Like I'm gonna redo it. And like if that's what you want to do, that's fine. You got to know when to like put that stuff down. But really, it comes down to like you got to hear it back and go like, all right, this sounds bad, and then you got to know how to fix it. And
I think you have to know, like, this is why we want people to learn more too. Is like, if you know that you can trust the process a little bit with
yeah,
your engineer, you can like hear a raw signal and be like, this isn't my favorite, but I know we can get it there,
Yeah.
as opposed to just like, this is terrible and I don't want to continue, you know? Like,
Honestly, that is the saving grace for me with, like, FabFilter for the longest time has been, like, monitoring it, and I know people say, like, "Use your ears, not your eyes," but
yep.
it's like, that is, like, awesome, but if you were doing what I'm doing, going to a different place, like, all the time, sometimes you can't trust your ears.
Yep. Because your
Uh
monitor's in that room, you
Yeah,
don't have it treated,
but
and
being able to pull the window up and being like, "Yep, that's a giant spike between 2 and
that
3K,
looks bad.
like"
Yeah, you
yeah,
know what I
like,
mean? And
"Let's
that's why
look
the
at that."
visual tools are like, they are important. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? There's a reason we have them.
yeah,
Like, that's the whole, like, there's a reason. I think sometimes people lean too much into that shit when they don't know about it first.
yeah,
If you know about it, like you're saying, like you can look at an analyzer like an RTA and be like, oh, that's fucked.
yeah,
Like, you know about it though, because you've been mixing for a long time. But if you
yeah,
don't know about this stuff, like, use your ears, obviously. But then like the visual can be great, especially like that. Especially like you're recording drums in the same room, you're monitoring on headphones, like it's already cooked. It's impossible to hear what's going on.
yeah.
So that visual aid is gonna be super, super helpful.
Yeah, or if you're monitoring with headphones in the same room as, like, the drummer,
Yeah,
and,
but
like,
you're
you
just
can't
like,
hear a damn
yeah,
thing, and you're just like, "I think
just
he's
like,
hitting it."
this is not happening. Yeah,
Yeah,
you just have to like hope and pray at that point.
yeah.
But so, what monitors are you using at home?
I've got the little IK,
The
M
iLouds?
yeah, no,
Oh,
it's not the iLouds, it's the MTMs, so
oh,
it's
okay,
the
oh, okay,
it's
okay.
the, like, tweeter, like, in
Mid
2
tweeter, mid,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and, they're small, but those are the ones that I take with me to places, and they have the ARC calibration mic
Dude,
with them.
yeah.
So I just, like, calibrate that, like, wherever I go, and, they can also sit on, like, a desktop. Um, from where I live in an apartment right now and, like, uh, it doesn't need to be, like, super loud, and most of the time I'm listening through headphones and
Yep.
mixing through headphones anyways. I'm using that more so for, like, a reference, like, does this feel good? Is this
Does
hitting
it
the way
feel right? You know,
yeah, is
what
this
is the snares
is,
moving?
like,
Yep.
the low end, like, hitting the way that I would want it to if I put it back to back with, like, something I would reference? Um and, like, also for, like, tracking if I go somewhere else, monitoring guitars through that, that always feels better for people instead of, like, playing in headphones. I mean,
Yeah.
headphones always feel better for me for tracking guitars, but that's because 'cause I'm a dork and I was into, like, prog metal for a while, and I'm, like,
Yeah.
real meticulous about being on the click. Um, so, yeah, no, that's what I use for monitors, and honestly, when I upgrade, I'm probably just gonna buy another pair of, like, IKs, but I'm gonna
They're
buy,
sweet.
like, their,
They made, like, big boys, right? Like,
they made like a 5-inch driver, 6-inch driver,
okay.
an MTM, and like an 8-inch driver, and I think I'll probably just buy the 6-inch drivers or something, or maybe the MTMs, but, like, it depends on where I, like, land, but really, it's just, like, whatever you buy, stick with it, and, like, also just don't buy, like, bullshit, like,
Yeah.
Amphion's are, like, famous for a reason, and they're revered for a reason, Barefoots are revered for a reason, um I was gonna say, like, these aren't revered for a reason, but, like, I don't feel the need to talk shit about any
Yeah.
company in particular. Uh, but really just, like, anything that you get to know it well, and then you'll be
Dude,
fine.
yeah. You do not need, like, okay, I can't talk. Like, I put some money into my barefoots. I have footprints, right? And I
Yeah.
love them.
Yeah.
But I've also mixed like over 1,000 songs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, got to the point where I was like really, really like, I was mixing songs and records on a $200 setup forever.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and I didn't do any mid-range upgrade or anything like that. I had a little tiny like old Yamaha sub that sucked that I got out of the studio closet,
Presonus Erises, is that
and
right?
PreSonus Airs 5s, baby. Those were $200,
Yeah.
and I was mixing records like crazy on those things and making money as an engineer, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like, it's because I learned them. I learned the quirks of the speakers in the room,
Yeah.
and I had that little sub, so it kinda balanced out, and I had it all dialed in. But, like, when I switched to the Barefoots, I remember being, like, kinda overwhelmed because I was like, "Wow, I can just, like, do so many other things,"
Yeah.
and that's cool, and they do like, they made me better at mixing, but also, like, I was getting it done, you know,
Yeah.
on those cheap setup, and that's what, like, also more of that is based on, like, how the room is set up and where your speakers are placed and all that kinda stuff than it is, like, what gear you have, you know?
Yeah, I think most of it's about, like, knowing your gear and then getting good with that specifically. Like, I was talking to it was Dave again, like, we were talking the other day about how, like, some people will make their room, like, incredibly, like, sterile, and no one's listening to music in places like
Yep,
that.
so
So,
it's
like,
like yeah.
you can, like, absolutely neuter a mix because you're like, "Well, this is out. This is, like, too much. This is, like, a little, like, grating."
Mhm.
And you're just, like, shaving down, like, all this, like, hair that, like, the mix could have, and because of that, like, you're ending up with, like, a technically, like, more perfect product, but, like, I don't know. There's a reason stuff sounds bad sometimes.
Yeah,
Like, there's a reason we like records from the 80s that sound, like, all crunched up and shit.
exactly. Have y'all just listened to a record? Like, go back and listen to
Yeah.
any record from the 70s or 80s in the lens of, like, how's the engineering, and you'll be like, "This is ass,"
Yeah.
but it sounds great. I think
Yeah.
my kids just shut up. They're back in the
Yeah,
house,
dude,
but
I hear EJ.
yeah, EJ's out there, but you know what I'm saying? Like, those records sound bad. They just sound bad.
Yeah.
Like, no, those engineers could not do what modern engineering, like, is doing.
Yeah.
But there's such a vibe that it doesn't even matter. They fit perfectly, you know what I mean? It's just like, it doesn't matter that that kick drum can't knock you over from a set of speakers, like, it feels right for the kit in that song, you know,
Yeah.
that kinda stuff, so
Yeah. I mean, not everything has to be, like, all over the top and stuff, and, like, I don't know, I think some people will get, like, gear acquisition syndrome and, like, continue to buy, like, the next thing, and, like, you just don't need all that stuff to make, like, I don't know, just make stuff.
make stuff. Get the stuff, get, like, cheap gear and make it work, because that's what matters
Yeah.
first. And then once you learn the shit, then you can upgrade as you please, but you don't necessarily need
Yeah.
that, you know what I'm saying?
Cheap gear, maintain it, like, take care of your instruments, fresh strings, fresh heads, like
That stuff is way more important
yeah.
than, like, "I've got a $10,000 mic." It's like,
Yeah.
dude, just because you got the Sony C800 doesn't mean it sounds good on everything, you know, so,
Also,
like
don't buy into, like, the mid-tier, like, upgrades and stuff, like, start with this bad boy, the SM57.
greatest mic on the planet.
Yeah, like, I don't know, people are still using this thing for, like, I don't know, like, I use it for guitars, like, every time.
Me too, yeah,
Great
and, like,
mic.
you can use it for vocals, you can use it for stuff like this. You
Yeah.
put it in front of anything,
Dude,
it'll rock.
Cloud Lifter with a 57
Fire,
on acoustic guitar,
fire,
awesome.
fire.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, thanks for hanging out with us. This is Buddy Harlow. You should check out his music, Tan and Handsome. He also does mixing for bands all the time, and it's fantastic. The kids are here, so we're gonna go play,
Yeah.
but, thanks for joining us for Feedback Chats. We'll talk to you later.